Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and for the last couple of days, I've been driving the 2026 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro. Up front is a 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6, as well as a hybrid system, and down below is a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be making this video here today for several reasons. First of all, this now completes the TRD Pro lineage here on the channel. I recently did the Tundra, last year I did the Tacoma TRD Pro, and now we get to do the Sequoia. So, very, very excited about that. But the second reason I'm excited is because I'm in what was sunny Santa Cruz, California for a very important reason that I'll touch on later. So this is my little vacay here on the channel. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6. Well, that is the upgrade powertrain for the Sequoias. The TRD Pro is always going to have that upgrade, and so it does get the biggest, most powerful power plant Toyota can give it. Now, there are some upsides, like 437 horsepower. That is not a small number, and believe me, you have enough passing power. This is also outfitted with the TRD Performance exhaust, so it sounds a little bit better than traditionally. On the downside, we've been averaging about 15 miles to the gallon. And with California's ridiculous gas prices, it has been quite detrimental to my wallet and my overall net worth. So, take it as you will. You know, if you're going to drive something like this, it's kind of to be expected that it's not going to get great fuel economy. But you see hybrid and you think, well, it has to be somewhat okay. And it still isn't. Like I said, paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, does the job fine, no complaints. And last but not least, of course, this is four-wheel drive with a rear-locking differential. How does it feel to drive the Sequoia TRD Pro? It is great. You know, it's quick, it's powerful, it's, you know, a campus on wheels almost. You are big. And I will say, because I am on vacation, it feels bigger just because we're putting it into a lot more treacherous scenarios back to back to back. What I mean by that is, like, when you normally drive your car, you maybe go out to dinner once a week, once a month, and you have to deal with downtown parking once a week or once a month. We've been doing it constantly. We have to park this thing publicly all the time, and so it has been on my mind of like, oh, you know, is this too big? Is it gonna fit? Blah, 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 because this is a very large automobile. So I think that's sort of heightened for me here today, but it is big. That's my only real complaint. Visibility is fine. Ride quality is okay. Ride quality is a little harsh, especially for the TRD Pro, but again, to be expected. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital gauge cluster. This is relatively customizable. It does the job. It's relatively easy to read. I would say easier to read than a lot of other Toyota products, but the outgoing RAV4 had a pretty congested gauge cluster as well. This, shared with the Tundra, it works. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our selectors for that gauge cluster screen, as well as we do have our volume and voice commands. And off to the right, we have our adaptive cruise control and our skip track. We also get a little TRD badge down at the bottom. I like that little touch. Off to the left, we have a giant climate control vent. We have our exterior lights on and off. We have our automatic high beams, gas cap release, gauge dimmer switch, trip odometer, our heated steering wheel, our AC 120 volt outlet on and off, and our TRD light bar. So like the Tundra, this is fitted with the TRD light bar that will operate alongside the brights of the truck, which is pretty cool. Moving on to the door, we have the latch to get in and out. We have the power mirrors that also fold, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we have our infotainment display. Of course, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Nothing really too crazy beyond that. No crazy features. We do have very, very good camera systems. So not only do we have a 360 camera, top-down system, good back, front, but I will try to go through as many of these different cameras as I can, as well as you can have an auxiliary camera. So what this is for is if you have a trailer, you can buy a Amazon backup camera, put it on the back of that trailer, run a cord up to the car, and run this as an auxiliary camera. So now you have a camera looking at the back of your trailer or anything like that. You can hook, obviously, that camera up to anything, but it's really, really nice that Toyota gives you that option for the backup camera system. The sound system has been great as well, so overall, this is a big win. It's a very, very big screen, one of the biggest in any car, but I've since grown used to it. Down below, we do have our climate controls, dual zone climate, as well as rear climate, which has been very helpful. USB-A found up here as well, kind of outdated there, but we do have heated and ventilated seats in the TRD Pro. Love to see that. Down below that, we have a row of buttons for our trailer mode, camera view button, traction control off, hazard switch, and rear locking differential. We have our power parking brake and auto holding brake. Shifter off to the left, we do get a little TRD shift knob, makes you feel a little bit special. And down below that, we have our four-wheel drive settings, drive mode, tow haul, our DAC and crawl, and our MTS modes. Off to the right, we have a wireless charger and a big cubby, as well as cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test. And I am happy to report that TRD Pro does in fact pass the big friggin' bottle test. Then we do get an opening center console, tons of space in here. This, again, has been very, very helpful on vacation. You just accumulate so many receipts and knickknacks and parking passes and food wrappers that it all goes in here, and you have plenty of space to do that. The seats are comfortable. They are heated, ventilated, power, and memory, and they are not the TRD seats that we tested out in the Tundra. They are not the suspension seats. Those are not available on the Sequoia, only on the Tundra and Tacoma. And honestly, I don't miss them at all. I think those seats are a little gimmicky. I never found much use to them. I lowered their pressure, raised their pressure, never really saw much of a difference. So the Sequoia is all about fitting as many people as you can inside, and so the seats actually really help out with that. They're comfortable enough, they do the job, and I have no complaints. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do 2 more rows in the Sequoia TRD Pro. There's a lot of birds squawking. He's coming near me. Yeah, it's called Wave Maker. Yeah, it's blue. Getting into the back of the Sequoia. Let's stay on track here. Grab handle right here. Scoot right in. Close the door up like this. And there we go. Tons and tons of space back here. The second row has been absolutely wonderful. Obviously, we get to enjoy the sunroof as well. Cup holders right here. We have our own climate controls. Bump that up here. It's a little chilly here this morning. We do have a wall outlet as well as USB-C and USB-A. We get this great format, and the sort of camouflage pattern carries on back here as well. Knee room obviously is great, and this is actually with my seat back a little bit. I was scooting it up to try to give my backseat occupants as much space as possible. My fiance did the same thing as well. So a little bit more space probably than usual, but still, you have that opportunity. She was comfortable up there. They were comfortable back here. It worked out well. My head is not hitting the ceiling. 5'11", not a small guy. The second row is fantastic. This is really the place you want to be. And it's nice. It works well. However, let's hop into the third row. All right, so even in the third row, I apologize, it's a little dark back here. It's kind of an overcast day, and it's also 7:06 in the morning. Because we have things to do today. This is actually not bad. You know, I had some friends back here. They didn't complain. You can also incline and decline or recline the seats from right there because they are power operated. We'll talk about that in a second. Cup holders, we also do get a sunshade if you want it to be even darker back here. Of course, the same features over there. However, we do get a USB-C that I would not have noticed if it didn't light up. So I love the fact that Toyota does this. Put the little light around the USB-C so you can see it. Cup holder over there, padding, things like that. I guess we could turn these lights on. If you'd like a better look back here, there you go. That's what it's like. So very, very nice. The third row is great. As I mentioned, we packed it full of people the other night. Get everyone around, get everyone to the wedding, get everyone to all the places we need to go. And it worked. It worked really, really well. However, when you do have this third row up, it does cut into the cargo space by quite a bit. So let's talk about that. Right around the back of the Sequoia TRD Pro, little button right here for the power operated tailgate. Love to see that. And as you can see, when the rear seats are up, you don't get much space. This is all the cargo space. You can lift this up. We'll get my tripod out of here. You can lift this up, and there you go. That is all the space that you get. Flip this back down. You can open up this. You do get an outlet, and these are power folding seats. So press it, long press it basically, and they do fold down in a power way, which is very, very nice, very convenient. Oh. It detected the, oh, well, this is actually good to know. So this detected this, but this did not detect the rest. So, good to know. I know in the news recently people have been worried about the power folding seats. This seat did crush the tripod a little bit, but it did have that alarm. So I assume a child is going to be larger than a tripod, so it does have that safety mechanism built in. Of course, if you didn't hear, there was a 2-year-old that was crushed in a Hyundai product and sadly passed away because the seat folded on top of them. So that is something to know. If you are a parent, it does have that safety built in. One more thing to note, on a happier note, you can pull this and then you could scoot this seat forward a little bit. So you can get a little bit more cargo space if you absolutely need it, but then of course you are cutting down on the leg room of the third row. So again, if you know you're gonna fill every single seat of the Sequoia and you need to take luggage with you, you might wanna think about a rooftop carrier, you might wanna think about other options because the cargo space just isn't great when the third row is up. So anyway, power button up here to either lock it or just power operate down. You also do have the kick function to kick your foot under it if the key is in your pocket. Very, very nice. Right back down, nice and easy. And let's talk about this paint. Oh wait, no. Let's not talk about the paint because we have one more feature here. You press this button and the rear glass opens up. So one of my favorite features on modern SUVs, older SUVs did it too, but when a modern SUV has it, it's really, really special. So nice openable rear glass. There we go. Love that around the back of the Sequoia. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and if you have eyeballs, this was probably the first thing you clocked. This is finished in Wavemaker Blue. This is the new TRD Pro color for 2026, and I have to say, it is wonderful. It is such a good, cool, interesting color. Every time we parked it, someone was like, oh, what is that? What is that? And especially in a beach town like Santa Cruz, I really felt at home with this color. Not that I didn't stick out, because I did stick out like a sore thumb, but it's very beachy. You got the roof rack, you got the sunroof open, driving down by the wharf. That was very, very fun. You know, it is a lot of beach culture here, and so you really feel that in this Wavemaker color. I think it stands out. I think it's unique, and I don't think any other brand is doing a color similar to it, which is always a great trademark for Toyota to have. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think having driven the TRD Pro Sequoia for the last few days? Well, it's been great. It's been such a wonderful tool while here in California. So to peel back the curtain a little bit, I am here in California on vacation / going to a wedding, but I also got engaged. I proposed to my long-term girlfriend, actually just the night before filming this, here in Santa Cruz at a lighthouse. It was beautiful, it was amazing, and I'm so excited to have shared that moment and have that moment. But that's why I flew out here. I was proposing to my now fiance. And so we had to carry around a lot of people. A lot of luggage. We were moving, bebopping and scatting around for the entire 3 days that we were here in California. And the Sequoia was a pretty good tool at that. We fit everyone we needed in here. The girls who sat in the very back row said it was comfortable. They're a lot smaller than I am, and they said it was great. No complaints. We were able to fit our luggage, not with everyone in the car. That's the big thing. If you want to use this as an airport shuttle, as we talked about with the cargo space, you don't get much beyond the third row. So if you have family that comes into town every other month and stays for a month or whatever, and you need to drive them to the airport every other month, you know, blah, 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 I would probably look more at like a Suburban or something with a trunk or something else, maybe even a minivan, because they have these deeper compartments. This, because of the hybrid battery, you just don't get that much storage space when the seats are up. Obviously, when the seats are down, it's fine. But that's really been my only major complaint. The paint is certainly a wave maker, whether it looks like the ocean or it's just making waves in the community by people talking about it. It is a loud, proud color. And any obstacle that we threw at this thing, we tackled. We didn't drive on a beach, but I felt fully confident that we could with the differentials and the tires, air them down a little bit. There were no major restrictions while driving this vehicle. The only restriction was really the fuel because, gosh, filling up is awful. But I always see these and I think they look kind of clownish, but then I get behind the wheel and I use them for several days and I go, man, yeah, this is a pretty good car. And so I am very, very happy with the Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro. I think this is a wonderful automobile. And now it's a part of my story. It's a part of my fiance's story. It's a part of my life story. Anytime I tell people, or when my kids years and years and years down the road say, oh, how did you propose to mom? I say, well, it all started when we landed at San Francisco Airport and took a little shuttle to a little parking venue, and there sat a TRD Pro Toyota Sequoia in Wavemaker Blue. And my kids will look at me and go, Dad, we don't care. How did you propose? And then I'll say I went to a lighthouse and got on one knee. But to me, as my life revolves around cars, it's very, very special that this is now a part of my story. And it's right that I proposed in a Toyota. Toyota of Naperville was the first major dealership to let me film their cars. Toyota Corporate was the first manufacturer to loan me press cars. And Toyota by far has taken me on the most press trips, flown me to the most amount of places. They've let me borrow their cars for extended road trips, like the LC500 up to Niagara Falls, or the Grand Highlander up to the UP of Michigan. Normally they have mileage limits, but Toyota's been so gracious to me to let me blow out those mileage limits for the sake of content. And so they've always been there for me. They've been great partners, a great company to work with. And so the fact that I proposed in a Toyota product is just the cherry on top. I can't confirm if I'll show up to my wedding in a Toyota. Maybe we can work something out for the GR-GT. But as of now, I'm very, very appreciative. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for joining me on this journey. It has been a true honor, and there will be more to come. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.